Hello, my dear ones. How is the day progressing for you guys? It looks like Florida is shifting into its afternoon rains. So I hope you're all doing well. Look at this guy. This is Antoine. Look at that guy. Is he ripped or what? He's a professional bodybuilder. Now he trains others. And we're working with him on the raw. But amazing guy. Amazing. It's exciting to see what's going on around the world. It's so exciting. You know, I was telling you that we have our new infant formula. I've also created another formula for, it's a superfood blend, but it's for toddlers up and also for the elderly. But it's more of a fruit and berry superfood blend than it is a vegetable superfood blend. So I'm excited about that. I was just had Shannon, she was looking at what's out there on the market in terms of infant food. And it's amazing. Went to the health food store, and this is considered a premier baby formula. I'm going to show you the labels are pretty. But listen to this. And it's just, you know, it's just sad that we're about the only group out there that gets it. Because it's just, I mean, look at this. And this had to be by a pharmaceutical company because this is so bad. This is what's in this formula for your babies. The first ingredient right out is organic glucose syrup solids. Glucose syrup solids. All right. Next ingredient out, organic soy protein. Next ingredient, organic palm olein oil or another kind of oil. Can't see it. There's soy oil. Then there's organic coconut oil, organic high oleic, safflower or sunflower oil, and some other, it's less than some other type of oil that's in there. Now, this is just going right on down the stupidity of pharmaceuticals and medical in their thinking that our babies need high protein, high lipid diets. Whoa, that's why our babies are having all the troubles. Can't give an infant high protein and high lipid. Where would you ever see that? And on our new infant formula, we're going to have the breakdown of human mother's milk, monkey milk, cow and goat milk, just so everybody sees the percentages. Even ours is going to be way out of line because mother's milk from a human mother is not that high in nutrition. You got less than 1% nutrition. Then you've got or actually minerals and stuff. Then you've got only 3% lipids, and I don't know, protein's way down, 1% or something. So it's amazing that they're making formulas that are totally different than mother's milk. Why would you do that? Particularly when it's a chemical milk. And this is just a chemical formula, except for all this fat, these oils. Oils like this is the most complicated part of a food to digest. So they have all these ridiculous oils here. Then they have ascorbyl, palminate, the L-carnitine, L-arginine, the tocopherols, which is your E's, organic soy lecithin, which is about 3 molecules away from plastic, taurine, calcium chloride, calcium phosphate. I can't see this on a curve thing. Iron through ferrous sulfate, oh yuck. Magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate, potassium bicarbonate, and it just goes on and on. Citrate, potassium hydroxide, potassium iodine. Oh, that's toxic. Oh my God. Sodium citrate, it just goes on and on and on. Ascorbic acid, beta carotene, biotin, calcium pantothenate, choline, whatever, can't even see that one. Inositol, niacinamide, pyroxene, hydrochlorine, riboflavin, goes on a few like that. chlorella something or other, d-alpha tocopherol acetate, which is an inorganic tocopherol. This is a d-alpha tocopherol acetate, and it's an inorganic tocopherol. It's not natural at all, and it's like, what the hell? And then some kind of vitamin K, which you're not supposed to, and it goes on a little more. It's like, what? The FDA actually would like a formula like this to go into our babies? We're the only food-driven baby formula on the market, and ours is 100% food. 100% food. There's nothing in it, but 100% food-based. This is just really sickening what's out there to raise our babies if you can't breastfeed. This one is a soy blend. There's another one that's a milk blend. There's still another one out there, high iron. I only read the soy blend. I can't imagine the milk blend. I mean, why would you sell crap like this in a health food store? But you see that. Sad stuff made from organic soy products. Just prohibited pesticides. I mean, this is definitely a pharmaceutical or someone with no brains to put something like that out on the market for our children. Whoa! So you can see the frustration that's out there and why our babies are having so much trouble. You stacking these high protein, high lipids on top of these digestively compromised young ones. This is why we have the Lytton procedure we talked about before, where they're tying the stomach around the esophagus so babies can't throw up when they eat crap like this. God, I don't know. I don't know what planet this has become, but if we, the higher beings on this planet, do not bring the light and change this, this is one hellhole. And it's getting worse. Sad stuff. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even believe it. There's no food in there whatsoever, really. Wow. Wow. Anyway, thank you for all the wisdom and love you share to the world. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Who is this? Oh, Bradley. Hey, Bradley. My aunt and uncle have enjoyed watching a few of your vids. The great lymphatic system and everything you need to know about foods. Yeah, the great lymphatic system, I'll probably do another one on that again, but that's the one we all have to get with. There's a video out on this poor lady's son that I just can't, there's no words to describe what this poor lad is going through. Karmically, probably did burn somebody or something to death in past life or something, but this poor child is just not even, she looks like hamburger all over. And it's just his lymph system chewing him up, and they don't even know how to help him. And so the poor mother's trying to take care of him. It takes 3 hours to bathe him. He's in so much pain. Well, you take a bath. You can take a salt bath and throw a lot of aloe vera in that. Fresh aloe vera, the gooky part, and fix a little bath for him. That should pull that pain right out of those tissues. That sure will help. So there's a lot of things you can do to stop blocking this pain. Of course, pain is what side of chemistry? Acid side of chemistry. So obviously, the lymph, there's no other system for it to be, right? And sometime I'll give you the link. Take a look at this one. If that don't make you cry, I don't know what will. That is like, holy moly. We couldn't even watch all of it. It's just sad. Wow. Woo. They believe what you say and think it makes sense, but have had over 80 years of eating the standard American diet and are slowly trying to change to a more fruit diet. They just bought a Ninja blender. That's pretty good, a few months ago, and are making some fruit smoothies for breakfast. Listen, what little changes that you can do with your folk is great. Because whether they get it this lifetime or not, do not worry. That soul is getting it, and that soul will carry that to the next lifetime, and perhaps that'll be the lifetime that they really get it. So whatever you do in this lifetime helping those souls, because remember, when you're looking at people, you're looking at a big, powerful soul behind those eyes. That soul might not even know it because they're so lost in the mind and in creation playing the games that they forgot, like we do, who we really are. So as one pulls back and as one gets into the high fruit, berry, and melon experience, along with maybe some green drinks, your peace and calm come to the mind, and your ability to start recognizing and seeing things and remembering things goes way up. So exciting stuff here for this planet, I think. My aunt fell backwards off the bathtub in April 2015 and hit the back of her head. I bet. Cerebellum. Ouch. Yeah, cerebellum. And of course, if you're older and you do that, and your kidneys, of course, generally are not functioning well as you get older, that's why most people die from, of course, is kidney failure. Whether it shows itself as congestive heart failure or pulmonary edema, it doesn't matter. It's still kidney failure. You always see the ankles, you always see all the signs that the lymph system's going down, but no one knows how to identify that but you guys. And that's beautiful, though. And it's like this, you knew about the cerebellum. You guys are getting so smart. I just love you guys. You guys will be a pleasure for this planet to deal with because you have the awareness and the knowledge, and you're learning so much. I just love you guys to death. And has been extremely dizzy and disoriented up to today. Well, use some cold packs, of course, on the back of the head, and even in the shower, you could do maybe some warm and cold. Do those neural lymphatics, because this is, when you have trauma to tissue, it's not your blood that has to come in and clean up the mess. Who has to come clean up the mess? The lymphatic boys. Absolutely. You're lymphatic. And that's why when you see a bruise, it takes a while for it to go away because the blood would just carry it away. The blood doesn't have to do that. It's the lymph system that has to take it away. That's in the interstitial now. And of course there's blood interstitial, but that's routed more to nutrition. The lymph system is the cleaning system of the body. And that system is why it takes some of these. And when you see people that bruise that don't go away, what's sluggish? That's right, the lymphatic system. And so when you hurt yourself and it don't heal well, you're too acidic because all trauma is acid. All trauma creates acidosis. The damage to cells, all that sort of thing, very acidic. So here comes the lipid boys coming in to help, the steroids from the adrenals, all the goodies coming in to help. The lymph system, then the cells come in. If there's any cell damage, they take the leukocytes, take them to the lymph nodes, where then the macrophages will take care of those. All that whole system of immune responses. But when you see something not improving, immediately kidney failure, kidneys not filtering, and they're having a hard time cleaning out the trauma. So that's what you have to focus, and they're older anyway, so you really want to focus in on their kidneys and adrenals. That's the savior for them. That'll increase the lymph flow. Of course, you want to hit the lymph system with this as well and start cleaning that system, and this will all come out of here. But you can use alkaline things like cold here. You could, if you wanted to take some of that pressure off, or candle her ears. About 3 candles. That'll take some of that pressure out of her because this will swell up and give her some pressure. And then, of course, she could fall again from the dizziness. Just remember, dizzy, vertigo, equilibrium right here. And, of course, to the eyes as well. That's your optic nerves. Cross there and hit into the autonomic nervous system. So you can have, vision problems from that as well. Also a little dementia. Well, this is a good time to fix her up, both. Get up in upper circ and brain and nerve. You want to do that anyway with the trauma. So upper circulation and brain and nerve, those are 2 great formulas that will help with the dementia, because you just got to get her sinuses cleaned up and let her know she could have a sinus drainage or something. Good. But she really needs to be on the fruits and the berries and the melons to fix this. You could, if she hurt herself too bad, you could maybe check the parathyroid, maybe do a bones formula for a little while. I mean, doesn't have to have fractured bones to use that, because it's all anti-inflammatory and healing to connective tissue and things that were damaged here. In the last 11 months, she has fallen on her head and face 9 times. Holy moly, honey. You got to get up here for her and do this, because she's going to fall all the time there. And then she's going to start dropping her feet and everything, just like MS or anything else, the spot. So, again, cold compresses and things like that. Work on the neural lymphatics, upper circ, brain and nerve. That'll be a big help to her. Tell her to be careful about walking around till you can get this fixed for her. It'll take a couple of months probably to help get this fixed for her. The last time was March 2016 when she fell into the refrigerator and have many stitches over her right eye. Oh, poor thing. She has had many PETs and MRI scans, and her many doctors find nothing wrong with her. Ah! Does that just make you want to scream? Do you, as a physician, I can tell you guys already, don't even have to do a scan, you already know what's wrong with her. What's that? You guys already know what's wrong with this lady and how to fix her. And yet her physician can't see anything? You can't see anything? Of course you can't. She hasn't got a tumor or anything dense enough. So then what are you F? If you can't see anything dense enough, then what could it possibly be? You only have a few choices. That's the problem. You only have a couple of choices to figure out what the problem is, don't you? The two sides of chemistry rules. Chemistry rules everything, so you only have two sides there. You only have two fluid-based systems to understand that. Everybody should understand the cerebellum and what kind of symptoms are going to happen when that's involved. If you're a physician and you don't understand the cerebellum and what happens with that, I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say about that. I say our group is a premier group on the planet. That's what I have to say. My God. Her many doctors find nothing wrong with her. Also, she had a terrible case of painful shingles on the right side of her face for many months. Her doctors have been of no help. Well, that leads you right into her adrenal glands and the weakness of the myelin sheaths. She's got herpes like everybody else, but that's not her bigger problem. Her bigger problem is weakened myelin sheaths. And you get those when your neurotransmitters run low, which is the adrenal glands. So that's why you need to go after them for many reasons. Not just to trip up the kidneys and get the sewage out of here and the acid and inflammation out of here, but to also go after these shingles and stuff like this, to go after the myelin sheaths. Because remember, nature doesn't attack the strong. Nature goes after the weak. Because in nature's always getting rid of the weakness and perpetuating the strong. So it can grow, it can change, it can adapt, it can make strong, it can look good, it can stand this test of time, things like that. Because nature has to take the positive and negative forces and withstand those. So anything that's weakened is terminated, just like the cells of your body. So you have to look at that. So that's another thing. Again, the brain and nerve formula would be very helpful for that. In that case, the adrenals are essential because you need the increase in neurotransmitters. So if her blood pressure might be swinging a little bit, because when this is damaged or inflamed, your blood pressure tends to go up, down, swinging. You can't treat a swinging blood pressure. You've got to fix it. Okay. I have ordered brain and nerve. Oh, smart lady. Brain and nerve number 2, upper circulation. Boy, you guys get it. I'm proud of you guys. So proud of you guys. Upper circ for her for 4 weeks worth. Good. A few months ago, I'd also get kidneys, adrenals, at least 1 lymphatic. If not 2, get her on the bowel form. Clean up that gut in her a little bit while you're doing that. So her bowels are cleaned up as well, so she can drain her head a little better. Remember, the bowels can be a drawback, particularly transverse colon can be a block to this upper head. So cleaning up that gut wouldn't hurt as well. So if you do several things together, you'll be very successful. Sometimes we're not as successful as when you're just treating with a few, but I like your take. Your take was excellent. Smart woman. Is that a woman? What did I say? No, Bradley. A man. Yeah, smart man. But it's very difficult to get 3 times a day of even a tablespoon, even 1 time a day compliance. Yeah, you have to figure, if you could get it to her twice a day, you would do a dropper and a half twice a day. If you can figure that one out, that'd be good. Anything to get it down her. Also got her bone and connective tissue support for all her falls. I agree with that one. But her eating fruit and taking the herbs constantly has not happened yet. Well, you do your best you can. Don't forget about the cold compresses and working on the lymphatics and things like that. My uncle has an issue also and would like your advice. He has had major edema. Okay, so, and again, here we're back here. Major edema in his legs for many months. Well, again, that's kidney failure. And when you're 80 years old and you start to see that, you're up for congestive heart failure, like I said, pulmonary edema, you're ready to be taken out. So you've got to turn this around. So both of them, they have to get the kidneys filtering. That'll pull that edema out of the body, because now you'll start filtering through the lymph system. All the acid waste from the cells now can have a place to go. The edema backs down because there's no sense in that anymore. The body's a wise one. And you have to understand that and give it due credit that it understands when to hold them and when to fold them. It's like a tumor. Once you open the pathway up, then the body starts releasing the tumor, and the tumor starts going down and down and down, and then it's gone. And you see that each and every time. So it's just understanding how the body, what the body's doing to protect itself when it forms tumors and things like this. And then you get your cysts and your pimples, everything to get out. It starts to all make sense. And you go, oh, well, that's easy. It's easy to understand the human body now and why God designed it the way it is. And then you go, wow, it took a pretty intelligent being to create all this. It didn't just happen out of nothing. So this edema in his legs are very, very important, because, like I said, the next thing coming is congestive heart failure in him, and that's like, no. His ankles are now about 12 to 14 inches. Holy crap. His ankles are now 12 to 14 inches in diameter. Where's my ruler? Well, I got a, this is for EKGs and stuff like that. Let me see, 12 inches. Holy moly. Well, it doesn't matter. You got to get this parents of yours or grandparents of yours, you've got to get these turned around. And his doctors have done nothing much to him. Well, they can't, because they don't understand what's wrong. So how can you fix somebody if you don't have a first clue of what's wrong? And this is the allopathic problem. So we need to invite the allopathic people over to our place, because they need to learn. I don't care who learns, they need to learn, because there's all these people living all these years in misery, pain, discomfort, when they can have a life. They can enjoy themselves. You don't have to be dying at 80. You could just have a new breath of fresh air. I'm telling you. If you think about this, and you fix your kidneys, you're 80 years old, you got great genes, you fix your kidneys, everything's moving well, blood, nerve, and lymph. No, you remove all these obstructions to the flow of all these energy flows. What kills you? Nothing. So you go back to Moses' time, you go back to the 700, 800, 900 years, if that's even true. I can see that easy. What kills us is the acidosis, the acid building up in the body, and then all the effects that happens. And when your kidneys shut down, that's it. That's why I'm saying kidneys are so vital to function and to work, and the little sweet adrenals on the top. They don't seem to think it's a big deal. That's too bad. Here is learned physicians who see swollen ankles, and if they can't relate that to congestive heart failure or anything, these guys are major mind writers. They can't connect the dots. They can't connect this with this. That's pretty bad when you can't connect the dots. I mean, you got to connect the dots, and so that's a problem. And that's a serious problem when you have physicians that can't identify swollen ankles as kidney failure, because it's got to be in her blood work too. That creatinine level in her blood work's got to be up there toward 1 or over 1, or his, or both. That's another thing you want to look at. What's his creatinine levels in the blood work? Where are they at and all that? And of course, check his PSAs at 80. I mean, there's a lot of things you want to check in their blood work to see what we need to do to help these people be well again. Because if they have good genes, 80 is just a... I had a 102-year-old man in here one time from the islands, and I was joking around with him, and I said, because he was getting married for the 5th time, and he heard about me and came in and wanted to talk to me how he could help himself, as male side, 102, and he said, this is my 5th wife. I'm going, your 5th wife? It's his 5th wife. 102 years old, and he said, I can't remember exactly. I'm thinking he said that she's in her 90s or something like that, or 80s, and I said, oh, a young woman, huh? He said, to me, an 80-year-old's a young woman. That was funny. But he's 102. learning about health, this guy will keep on going. He's an islander. He loves the fruits. So this guy will just keep on going. I mean, and that's the beauty of that, you know. I mean, you have to leave the planet sometime. Who wants to stay on this planet too long? But if you're healthy and happy and you don't have repressive governments and you don't have the what's going on with the World Bank and stuff, that's good. If not, they're destroying the planet. Narcissism, ego, power and control, all these things. I had him buy the Fab 4 and lower circulation. Good, smart thinking. And your adrenal tincture. Smart thinking, Bradley. You're pretty smart. This is a good idea. Your take. I like guys and gals that learn the protocols and how to use them, because you learn the protocols and how to use them, you guys will be successful with helping everybody you come in contact with. That's all it really is. In the school, we're going to have a lot of protocols this time, because you're not leaving that class until you get how to write protocols, because we need to do that. And then iridology classes then will show you how to write a protocol just from looking at their eyes. How to know everything that's going on with them, and then how do you write a protocol from that. That's all fun stuff and cool stuff, because you guys obviously are going to be the only group around here that can cure people. Holy moly. But he wants to help his wife get better first. And I have an exception to that. I would run him with 2 kidney formulas, adrenal formula, 1 lymphatic formula. You don't have to give him a full bore set. Get him a bowel formula too. But get him on a regimen that'll open up his kidneys, because he doesn't realize that those swollen ankles are just a sign of congestive heart failure coming, if not already in part of that, or pulmonary edema, some way to take him out. That's just what happens. Because this fluid starts building up around the lungs, around the heart, everywhere else. Remember, this is a systemic problem. We're looking at it at the ankles, but it's all through him to a certain degree. And so what are you going to see? Water, edema on a PET scan? What the hell is wrong with these guys? All that radiation, all that stuff just to say, well, I don't see nothing. Yeah, that's the problem. Same problem if you use a computer too much. You forget how to add and subtract yourself. Some of the young ones can't even add and subtract in their minds. They have to use computers. And that's the negative side of that. Before he starts on his tinctures, he's just as in trouble as she is, except hers won't take her out maybe, but his might. So you have to be careful here. Also, he was just told he has a very low white blood cell. Whoa. Okay, so he has a very low white blood cell count. I'm surprised they didn't dub him with leukemia. That's a problem. Okay, it's 1.9. You want to have your whites really in the 5s. If you got them in the 4s, I'm happy, but in the 5s and above, I'm even happier. When you're down in 1.9, it's below 4, basically. If you say basically in most lab work, below 4 is low, especially in the 3s. But 1.9, that's serious low. And they just happened to mention that to him. Oh, you just happen to have some low white blood cells. What? I mean, this is bone marrow or spleen. You have to kind of look at the platelets too to see if there's anything going on with the platelets. But maybe I'd go after his bone marrow and spleen. This is serious. You know, when your whites, that's leukemia. What they would call leukemia. Which isn't a cancer, it just means that they call it a cancer. But it's just, he's in trouble with these white blood cells. And this is the immune system. This is the lymphatic system. And blood. I hear 3.5 to 11 is normal. 4's better, 5's better. You get too high, then you show a lot of activity in the body. Too low, you're in trouble either with the spleen or bone marrow. So you want somewhere in that magic. 5 or 6, I'm real happy. Real happy with 5 or 6. Even 3.5. When you start getting low end of stats, and some of their stats are ridiculous, but low end of stats, you want to open your eyes and go, oh, well, look. And he's way below that. Be interested to see what his creatinine and bun is. Sure, if it is correct, he would like to hear any advice you have for his wife and him. Thank you so much for your school and your clinic. It is really helping me to help. Well, you're doing it. I'm proud of you. These are the kind of souls that we want on this planet, that come and help people like this. And not just their parents or their loved ones, but everyone else. They're all in trouble. It starts with your parents. Beautiful job here, Bradley. I hope to get back to your clinic to see you and Marcy. If you have an iridology class at the end of this year, I will have. Probably in the fall again. Good work, my friend, but your dad or mom, is this your dad and mom? Wait a minute. My aunt and uncle, I'm sorry, your aunt and uncle. Yeah, Aunt and Uncle, I hope that video helps you, but you need to do something about this because you don't need to suffer. And don't pawn it off on, I want you to work on my wife first. My friend, you work on yourself too, also. You know, sometimes when you get that age, you just have to belly up and do some things to help yourselves. Because it isn't fun when you leave a mate, if you've been with them a long time, you want to fix yourself too, because it's nice when you can spend more time together, right? Okay. Hello, Dr. Morris. My mother has a thrombocytosis, more precisely, an essential thrombocythemia. Her bone marrow produced too much platelets. Well, look at that. You sure it's her bone marrow producing too many platelets? Could be, of course. But that would show, it would show hyperactivity of the bone marrow, which would then be acidosis the same way. But you know what's going to happen here? As she produces too much, bam, it can go down and not produce enough. So the question is, why is she overproducing platelets? So you can either have overstimulation in the bone marrow, which would be acidosis, or she's got internal bleeding somewhere. And of course, it'd be hard to check that. You can check urine and stool, but she could have some internal bleeding. She's under a couple of meds here or something. Xagrid and Kardegic or something. I don't know. I can't even pronounce those. Since that she suffers from anemia. Her hemoglobin levels are too low. Look at that. The doctors don't know if it's due to the treatment of the disease itself. Okay, so here's the treatment of the disease. That's just what you said. Due to the treatment of the disease. You know, oh my God. See, they're trying to destroy the bone marrow a little bit so it won't overproduce. You know, it's that saying, if your thyroid is overactive, just cut a piece of it off. I don't know where that mentality comes from. It sure isn't anything in any academic school, is it? And if that is, then should we label academics? I mean, that's something I don't even think our young ones that are watching this would come up with that bizarre thought. They'd be coming up with fix it. She also suffers from high BP, high blood pressure, hypothyroidism with nodules and calcifications in her breast. Okay, I think her adrenal glands are weak because she's tired. Absolutely weak. I guess she should eat more fruits and veggies. You guess? I would guess, Lois. She's from France. I would guess, Lois. Exercise slightly, live walking. I don't know. Relaxing a lot, yeah, and use of herbs to move the lymph and make the kidneys filter. Now you're talking. Absolutely, Lois. You want to get your mom's kidneys filtering and get these acids out of there to drop down that hyperactivity of the bone. If in fact that's what we're dealing with, then we want to do that, because that's not good. And of course, also turning that, if she has any bleeding that could stop that, you want to go after the liver, gallbladder, obviously. The adrenals, of course, is iron metabolism. So going after the adrenals will also help with the anemia. People don't realize that, but the adrenals also are connected to the liver in that way. So I'd go after that. We do have a bone marrow formula. I don't know about that. I think in a hyperactive case, I would deal with that, but I also clean her spleen out, because you would want to know where her whites are, just like the last case. Where's her WBCs? Where's her white blood cells? You know, where are they in conjunction with the platelets? Because you got two things produced in the bone marrow, the WBCs or leukocytes, and you also have the platelets. But also the spleen is a ministering place as well. So you got to look at the spleen as well on this one. Might not be the bone marrow. Probably is because of the overproduction of that, but might not be. Could be the spleen. What would you do in her case, especially for the essential thrombocythemia and anemia? Thank you very much for your answer and your precise work. Thank you, Lois from France. Well, just that. You know, if you have inflammation or acidosis in any tissue, you can make it hyperactive. There's proof of that. Let's go back to the nodules in the thyroid. That already tells you immediately her lymph system's backed up in her head area. All right? And then she's got high BP, so you know immediately. If that's not a swinging blood pressure, that's what you want to find out first. Is this a swinging high blood pressure? In other words, is it high 1 minute or low the next? Then that's the cerebellum. But if it is consistently high blood pressure, you're going right back to the kidneys and adrenal glands. And so you've got to fix that, of course. The adrenals, obviously, if she's tired all the time, you know those are down. Her diastolic is going to be her kidney pressure, so whatever that is. To have calcifications in the breast, of course, is just simply that she has lymph stagnation in the breast. If that's all she has in the breast right now, good, because the calcifications, they'll dissolve right away when you turn her interstitial fluids to base. When you start working interstitially and you're getting the move of acids out and you're maintaining a more equilibrium of interstitial pH, then calcifications can break down and be carried away. And that's the only way you can dissolve them, unless you want to cut them out. But you don't want to do that. They'll dissolve away. And so that's important. You do the opposite. When you have a stone, you do the opposite, because what cytochemistry do you get stones in? That's right, acids. Well, look at what acids creates a cationic environment. Believe that or not, is an environment of dehydration, coagulation, agglomeration. Everything dehydrates and then sticks and dries. You might have the opposite before that, where you have a lot of stimulation, like possibly in the bone marrow of your mother. But outside of that, so getting rid of acids, very, very, very important to do in all cases. And so you got to have the kidneys, of course, to do this. Getting the adrenals up or help her iron, cleaning out the liver and gallbladder, cleaning out the spleen. You want to clean her whole GI tract up. This is one where you want to go full bore after the mom, because you get her fixed up and she'll be good with that. But the treatment, you have to take a look. And she has to, if it's the pharmaceuticals that's hurting her, she's got to rethink whether it's important to take them or not. I understand that too many platelets could create blood coagulation, but if you have her on the blood formula, you have her on all the lymphatics, all the fruit. Here's the important thing, fruit and berries keeps the blood, I don't want to use the word thin, but it keeps the viscosity perfect and the pH perfect. Therefore, you don't have any of the problems with the blood of agglomeration or anything, because a slight pH change can hitchhike or piggyback those blood cells or cluster them. So it doesn't take much of a pH shift. And one thing you wouldn't do, of course, with your mom is feed her proteins and dairies and anything like that. Just make this whole thing a whole lot worse. So you got to go after the blood pressure along with everything else, and your line of focus will take care of all of that. She can clean all of this up very easily. We've had a lot of those cases of overproduction of whites even, and reds, of course, and the opposite, the low platelets and the low. I would rather, in my honest opinion, see a hyperstate than a hypostate, because generally speaking, a hypostate is going on your way out. Hyperstates are early, generally subacute stages, easy to deal with, easy to get out of there, like hypothyroidism, stuff like that. These are not difficult issues to get rid of. They're just not. But the medical profession, who doesn't even know what causes them, makes them a big deal, and it is to them, but not to us. There's so many other worse things. Oh my God. But this is shouldn't be a difficult case for you to do if your mother will get some compliance. You might want to listen to this video, and Mom, you need to go on a diet for about 4 months, fruits, berries, and melons. Get a new blood work up at about 3. Be careful what you do to treat yourself, because you get yourself in trouble here. And if they talk you into this as a form of cancer, they could just take you on out with the treatment. So you really want to be smart in what you do. You're a mom. And understanding the body a little more and what's up will save a lot of lives out there. Instead of trusting in a modality that doesn't understand the lymph system, acidosis, doesn't understand any of that. They're hooked and fixated on the concept of diseases. Thalia? I'm bad at pronunciation, so you English people out there, close your ears. My grandmother would be having my hand pretty bad right now. Hello, Dr. Morris. I just want to say thank you for sharing your wisdom. Oh, thanks too, my friend. Who is this? Oh, yeah. I am so inspired and love watching your videos. Thanks, man. Well, you know what? If they can get you closer to having a much higher degree of awareness, closer to understanding the oneness of all life, and also being able to get your physical body in shape and health and happiness, it's worth it, ain't it? It's so much worth it. And it's not that, what you do now, 5 years from now, you're going to look back and go, look what I did. Look what I did. took care of myself. Exactly, because you guys are coming back with stuff that you guys are nailing it. You are nailing it. You understand the cerebellum. You're understanding the parathyroid. You're understanding the connection of the pituitary to the thyroid and parathyroids and stuff. You guys are good. You guys could ace any test out there. Okay, now. My dad was or had a lower back pain for years now, and about 15 years ago had lower back surgery. When you generally speak of lower back, now you're into the kidneys down. That's L4 and 5. It can hit 3 and 4, but say 3 down, L3 down. So all the vertebrae down is your kidneys, your bladder, your ovaries, your uterus, your prostate. So anything you see down in the lower back, that's what's getting it. Because to have lower back, you have to have problems in the related organs and glands. So it's a blowback. And when you fix the lower back, you have to, we talked about this many times, you have to fix the organs and glands because it's the blowback to the spine. That's where your route of nerves and lymph and blood vessels are. So it's just that sort of problem. And that, again, you can have these surgeries, but he wants to fix his kidneys because this is taking your lower back, kidneys, and all below. Because if you're a female and you're popping ovarian cysts or have fibroids in the uterus or endometriosis, you simply have to fix your kidneys. Or you get atypical cells vaginally or anything else, you simply have to fix your kidneys. And that would be the same with a male. Prostatitis, testicle problems, kidneys, and the adrenals. He cracks his back a lot to try and ease the pain. All right, so again, he could be getting compression and everything else like that. So work on those neural lymphatic points down your dad's back. That'll turn on the lymph system and also the organs related to all the areas that you're working on. You can use a colder, we have some nice, it's a cool pack, but it's a salve. It's used mainly by chiropractors, but it's really good. Can use stuff like that, but really want to get his kidneys in shape, get them filtering. That'll help pull that inflammation out of that spine. The spine then can rebuild, especially you want to look up at the parathyroid gland, remember with this, especially when you're in the rebuilding process. A few days ago, he could not get up because his lower and mid-back muscle hurt. Oh yeah, and the only way to get that pain out of that or the spasm out of that muscle is to get the kidneys to start filtering that acid out of there. And he could have a kidney reflex to that muscle too, so his kidneys could be in trouble, and that's spasming the muscle to the kidneys. Yeah, I mean, that's common. He is not vegan and takes pharmaceuticals to help with the pain, but only brings temporary relief. Well, because he's not fixing anything. And then, of course, all the pain meds are also liver intensive. So it's all that crap. What can my dad do to not have back pain anymore? Simple. Got to get on a diet for a while, Dad. Yeah, there's no way around it. And if you're eating protein, try this, Dad. Try 1 week. Fruits, berries, melons, number 1, and maybe a salad every day, number 2. That's it. All the fruits, all the berries, all the melons you want, and a big salad for lunch. The rest of the day, fruits, berries, melons. First thing in the morning, fruits, berries, melons. Just for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. See what happens to your pain. And then go back and eat the way you're eating, and I'll show you what brings pain to you. And proof is right there for you. If you cannot do protein whatsoever, or you might as well enjoy your back pain because you'll never get out of it. You just can't. These are some of the chemistries you cannot consume when you're in trouble. Well, wait a minute. If you can't consume them when you're in trouble and they also get you in trouble, why would you consume them at all? Desire, conditioning, things like that. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. This is Terry. Hey, Terry. It says, thank you for answering my questions on video 350. Do we have that many videos? Holy moly. I know you have spoken a lot about wanting to find good watermelon. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Well, the watermelon I found to have those healing crises I wrote you about, which were so ripe and yummy, were from the Florida Citrus Center in Ocala, Florida. Florida Citrus Center in Ocala, Florida. I stopped on my way home from level 1 class. Make sure you check them out starting May. Ooh. All right, so I'm suffering from a lack of good food. How about you guys? I tell you though, when you get up into Georgia, Alabama, and you get up into the northern states, oh, so much better watermelon. Florida quit growing good watermelon, guys. I hate to even spend my money. I throw so much away. But you get a good Georgia melon, North Carolina, Tennessee. I'm from Indiana. Our melons in Indiana will make your toes curl and put a grin from ear to ear. I mean, that's what your food needs to do to you. And at the same time, you know that it's embracing you with its love and its nutrition and its energy. That's what makes us feel good. Not this dead animal crap and all this starch and all the milks and crap that doesn't even fit with humans. Oh, look at this. Hello to Dr. Morris and team from Thailand. Thailand! I tell you, there is where the best fruit in the world is. All in Thailand and all around there, I hear is some of the best fruit ever. I know, I told a homeopathic physician in Romania for her to go over to Thailand and just stay for a few weeks on Thai fruit. And when she did that, she wrote me and she said, you know what? All my symptoms went away. All her symptoms went away on Thai fruit. I mean, this is where our food sources are going to have to come from until we learn how to build greenhouses that can be more effective and be able to handle mass amounts, or start learning how to raise proper friggin' food. It's discouraging. But you've got to, if you're suffering, you've got to try to get yourself straight and fixed up here. So you got to find it wherever you can. My name is Tom Downing, and I am from the UK. Oh, wow. I moved out to the tropics 11 months ago for healing. Yeah! Tom, I'm right with you, baby. Where I met a Scottish girl called Anita. Wow, please say hi. I know she'd be watching. Hi, Anita. Oh, you guys are over there in Funland. I tell you what, I think the Thai people are beautiful, you know. I just love all Asian, but I love all islands. The islanders are just such loves. I have dealt with islanders for years and years and years because they love the herbs. And these are just great places. We're struggling in the northern climates as humans to be healthy. And we need to, if we're going to live in these areas, we have to change the way we farm. Please, Anita, introduce me to your teachings after curing herself from MS. Listen to this. Anita, introduce me to your teachings after curing herself from MS with the YouTube channel that you provide so kindly. Is that cool? That's the beauty. And for you MS, Lou Gehrig's, and Parkinson's, hit the fruits and berries and melons, whatever months. If it took you a year, who cares? It's sure better than suffering. And here's a sweet lady here who cured herself from the YouTube channel. Holy moly. I mean, that's what this is about. And we just all have to get with that. And when we do, we're a force to be reckoned with around this world. Because you can't deny the truth. That's where the problem comes in for them. They can't deny the truth and they can't deny the healings. You're all healing yourselves from all kinds of things. Can't deny that. So what are you going to do? Woo-hoo. You know, you got to change. That's what you got to do. And the world has to change and come up to where we are in at least our level of thinking. Then improve it if you want. Okay, I get that. But at least get up here. That's sweet. Anita, love you, dear. She has just taken a yoga teacher training course. Go beans. We both love you, man. You're put hard work into this, and we appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate you seeing that because I put a lot of work. I tell you, I work till late at night every night on all our stuff, on the classes and all our stuff. I just rarely have time for myself, you know. But this is myself. This is who I am and what I'm here to give off. So I'm doing what I enjoy, and I know you guys are too. You're an inspiration. Thanks, Tom. Now there is 2 more people ready to continue your teachings and inspire all the people. Oh, that's neat. Because this world needed, when you read some of these things and you realize their physicians have failed them over and over and over again, these people are suffering and need the answers. We have the answers and have had. It's just been hard to get it out. So now, since we have the YouTube and everything else, it has just gone and done some beautiful work. I am proud of each and every one of you. This is just beautiful stuff. Here's a question now. My symptoms, apart from the usual weak adrenal and kidneys, is to do with a chronically low thyroid, okay? I started off on about 70% fruits back in April 15 and have worked my way up to about 98% fruit. Well, you're in the right place to do it. And I know, let's see who else is in Thailand. I used to talk to him all the time. Matter of fact, he got so much energy. He was calling me and said, "What the heck do I do now? I have too much energy. I have so much energy." You know, that's where you're going to go. With so much energy, now you're going, well, I need to cut down a little bit. I don't know what I can do with all this energy. And so, oh my God. Anyway, 98% fruit and now feel great. I would like to mention that at times I thought I was going to die from sickness and faint from fatigue. But you know why? Because when you start on raw, if you have weak adrenals, wham! You're not on stimulants. You're not on proteins, which are stimulants. You're not on coffee, which is stimulants. So you're not on stimulants that trip up the adrenal glands. So now you get to see full bore where they are. So what happens, especially if you're a meat eater, which has neurotransmitters from the dead animal in it, which is tripping up your adrenals, you don't even know. That's why we think meat is so strong and powerful. It's not the protein, it's the neurotransmitters. The problem with that, taking neurotransmitters out of the meat that has it in them, weakens your ability to produce neurotransmitters. So when you stop all of this, boom, crash and burn. Oh my God, I can't even lift my head up. I had a lady that worked for a dentist out in California. She had some problems, chronic fatigue and all this, you know. So I put her on the fruits, berries, and melons, of course, and the herbs. And I talked with her about every month for a couple of months, and she was getting so tired. She said, "I can't even lift my head up. I'm just so tired. I just want to go to bed all the time." I said, "Then go to bed all the time. Lay there." So this went on for 2 or 3 months, and then I didn't hear from her, and I was busy, and then I thought of her about 6 months later. I said, "Oh my God, I haven't even checked on her," because we're so busy unless you check on, you know, you have your appointments. And her dentist calls. And the dentist said, "I know you know what you're doing, man." He said, "But I think she's going to die." I said, "Nope. She's consuming all these high power nutrition and energy. And that's her adrenal glands. That's her genetics. That's why she's tired the first time. And she's just going back down there for right now. She'll change." They said, "All right," but you know, so didn't hear from her, like I said, and I finally one of the staff called her, and she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry I didn't call you." She said, "In about a week or 2 after I talked to you the last time," she said, "an energy came into me that I can't even describe." She said, "I don't know what to do. I have boundless energy now." She said, "My God, I got a whole new world ahead of me." And you guys will see the same thing. But initially, the bump is like this. But you have to understand why. All right? Nothing is always perfect in Hellville. So you're just exposing the underlying truth that exists in your body that no one has been able to tell you. And these beautiful eyes will be able to tell you a lot of stories about your genetics. And so get used to using the iridology because it's simple, it's easy. 8-year-olds are using it. I have 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 13-year-olds using iridology. Beautiful, beautiful. And nailing people right to the T. Just beautiful stuff. Okay, now, but that's why people crash and burn when you start on these programs and you think, "Oh my God, this is supposed to give me energy and everything else, and I feel more tired and everything." Now that's normal. I mean, you're off of stimulants. And now, even though you're consuming the highest nutritional foods on the planet, the highest energetic foods on the planet, magnetically speaking, you still feel more tired. What is that? That's called neurotransmitters. And you'll notice about that time your blood pressure going boom, 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 boom. And when you get real fatigued, you're going to be somewhere between 80 and 95 on the top. That's very low neurotransmitters. Should be 120 to have any kind of, I'm happy. Let me see here. All right. I would like to mention that at times I thought I was going to die from, there we go, fainted from nature fasted, and now I feel strong. See what happens? You have to work through these phases. A lot of people get into these phases and they go, oh, this ain't worth nothing, I quit. Give it a chance. Understand what's going on. Understand why you feel that way. And there's thousands that'll tell you that. So it's just, some people don't want to be well and use things as excuses too. Remember that one. So far, I've taken around 6 bottles of thyroid liquid, 2 glandulars, parathyroid, 1 glandular thyroid, and 2 pituitary herb caps, as well as all the standard herbs for detox. I've recorded my temperatures reading over the past 6 months, which I have stayed between 35.1 and 35.8. I don't know what that is in ours. Fahrenheit. I realize that this is so you think it's a pituitary issue? Glandulars are pretty hard, but remember you got to work on your bowels too to nip this in the bud, and I'd probably work on upper circulation, try to get blood flow better up into the pituitary itself, but you got to fix the transverse colon as well. Remember, that's that symbiotic relationship there. So you want to do that. If you pick the pituitary glandular herbs and didn't get a kick, then I would definitely go to the pituitary glandular, but get you somewhere around 50 to 100 mils. I wouldn't get too strong. And then I'd probably only do 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. on that one for 1 bottle. But this is where you might need to correlate with some blood work. Maybe go to a lab over there and just pick up some thyroid, TSH, your T3s and T4s. Not concerned so much about the T3s and T4, but TSH. Because that's going to be instrumental. You get your T3s and T4s. That way you can kind of look at where they are in relationship to the TSH. But that TSH is really what you want to look at. Because if it's too low, then you know it's your pituitary. It's really kicking that. So you would have to hit that one and the thyroid. Those are the only way. Now, the only other way that things are not moving that, unless you're totally congested in this area, that is not giving you much of a kick. I've never seen much of that, though. So I don't know what to tell you. Your focus is right. You got to get on the kidneys and the adrenals to start getting everything moving. But in Fahrenheit, you want 97.5 up to about 98.2. If you can get up in the higher 97s Fahrenheit, it's a good place to be. Even for some, mid 97s is a big jump because a lot of people are in the 95s and 96s. When you're in the 95s and 96, you're beyond chronic. And then, of course, the parathyroid is going to be down too. So it could be there. My question is this: until I get the TSH production from the pituitary, a smart guy, will the ability of my parathyroid to utilize calcium be completed or compromised? You know, that's a good question. I think that's a tough question too, because I don't know how to measure that other than symptomology. So symptomology with low calcium utilization would be bruising easy, maybe hemorrhoids, spider veins, of course varicose veins, prolapse, sagging too much, wrinkly skin, depression, of course, low neural synapses, but that's tough to tell between that and the neurotransmitters. So that sort of thing. Fingernails, ridged, brittle, breaks easy, those sort of things. And if that's the case, then you could do the pituitary and the parathyroid glandular, hitchhike it with a high calcium formula of maybe a superfood blend or a Bones formula or something like that. I've started pumping the green drinks, taking superfood blend and the Bones formula to deal with the malabsorption from last year, but I'm thinking I might be wasting my time until the thyroid picks up. Well, you're not wasting your time that way, but I'll say this. I really think that if you want to fix this, I mean, I hate to say it, but fruits, berries, and melons, bro. Get rid of the green drinks. I would say the green drinks is a good choice when you are pretty cleaned up here, everything's kicked up pretty good, and you might want to rebuild your bones fast, or then I think the green drinks would work pretty good for you. But you might have to stay up high with the fruits and the berries and the melons to get your lymph moving. I'm going to say your eyes is going to be your best chance to see what condition you're in. Where's your lymph system? How bad do I look in the pituitary? How chronic is it? Because there now, the younger people out here, guys, you're going to have very chronic problems in some of these areas, and you can have chronic pituitary problems that could take a while to rebuild. So Tom, if you're involved in that, then you just have to sit back and just keep working it, because that's all you can do. There's no magic. You just keep working it, keep working it. Don't take gliders too long. Switch to the herbs. If you have to, switch back to the gliders, but kind of give that back and forth a little bit. And then just take a look at your eyes and see what your eyes are telling you. Is your sinuses impacted? That could be a big deal. Do you have a pituitary tumor or cyst, or impacted lymph around the pituitary gland? A lot of people have impacted lymph around the pituitary gland. The sinuses are backed up, the pineal, the pituitary is impacted with lymph. You ain't going to get much response out of that. So it's just, you're doing some good things here. You got a good take. You understand upper circ. You understand these things. Tom, I love you. This is how it's done. You start looking. You start thinking, you're using your head. So I really like what you're doing. Could be chronic enough to where you're going to have to work it out and just keep working it out. That's all I can say. You might try brain and nerve number 2. I think you already got that one. But you might try the brain and nerve number 2 just because neurons, and helps increase cell function and things like that. That might come into play. But if you indeed have malabsorption, and you see that in your eyes, you definitely want fruits, berries, and melons, and kidneys and adrenals, because that has to be corrected. And some of these things, these are always things you think about, but are you so malabsorbed that the things you're taking isn't even getting into you? That's another problem, is that sometimes when you're very malabsorbed, and if you're very malabsorbed, that means you probably are very mucused up. Then it's a lot of the nutrition you're consuming might not even be getting in to help you turn these things on. See, there's the other thing. This is why I have the tinctures with it. So we have liquids to see if that'll absorb better. We have the capsules for digestion. Outside of that, you're talking about implants, rectal implants, and things like that. And really, rectal implants, the absorption down toward the lower rectal area is minimal anyway. Water, basically. Not much nutrition absorbed down to that area. So I don't know. You keep working with that and picking that up. But your focus is great. Your idea is great. And Anita, my God, good job, sweetheart. MS is very curable. We and not as a disease, but as a neurological compromise. I've never seen one that couldn't. I've never seen any of these that couldn't. It is, can you follow it to the level you need to? So, good job, you guys. Good job. And lastly, is there an explanation as to why the thyroid connected with depression, parathyroid? I'd like to know, because I was affected in the past, and people will ask. My guess is that the organism is breaking down, and this is felt emotionally. I think it's deeper than that. Calcium has a lot to do with nerve impulses and nerve synapses. And when you have weakened nerve energy, you just have a frown on your face. Calcium also probably has a lot to do with brain synapses and serotonins and everything else as well. It has a lot to do emotionally. Actually, it has more to do with how you see yourself, how you love yourself, that sort of thing. A lot of people just don't love themselves or care for themselves. The world is hard. They might be too big, too small, not pretty enough or whatever, so they don't love themselves. Some, even the beautiful people, quote unquote, don't love themselves. So you have a whole world of unhappiness. But that parathyroid is your depression. And if you've got that, you know immediately you have parathyroid problems. And if you've been battling that, then I think you're right on with the pituitary. So that could mean you have a very chronic pituitary. Don't give up. Keep working. That's all I can say, Tom. And Anita, blessings be. Great job. Great job. Keep working it. That's what this is about. When someone can write you and say, I cured MS through your YouTube site, What does that make you feel? That's got to hurt some of the educated people. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, I have this stack, I have this stack. Okay, this was mailed in to us. Let me see what this says. Let's see, this is Diana. My question is about lesions, lacunas in the iris. Say the lacuna is in the kidney adrenal area of the iris. When the kidneys heal, will the lacuna in the iris look differently? Yes. Like, will the openness in the lacuna fill in with a different color of lines? Yes. Now, it doesn't show up white in a brown eye, but in a blue eye you see these little white acute healing lines. And it's like the lesion starts getting smaller and like something is sewing it up, like you would sew up a patch. And if you look down into the lacuna, you will see these lines, these healing lines we call them, starting to sew up the tear. Cool stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But your lacuna wants to go smaller and smaller and smaller and disappear. That's a lot of work when you have deeper chronic lacunas, no question about them. But and could take a few years. But you're talking about the total regeneration of kidney tissue or any other related tissue. So nobody's getting that out there but us. Not really. Not at this level anyway. So important to, that's a good question too. And you want to see all the lacunas, all the radius solaris getting shorter and thinner, lighter. Absolutely. You want to see that move toward perfect straight fibers again? All around. The bowel wall. You want to see that lymph cleaned out of that bowel wall. If you have sulfur, you want that out of there. It takes a while to clean up the human body, really. You can get over all these things and still have a body that needs work on. That breeds the question. In a state of extreme health, what would the Homo sapien look like? If we're indeed down toward the last annals, if you will, of health, where the cell genetics are at the level of atypical almost, and cancer, we've got babies born with cancer cells now, meaning the cells are so morphodized that they're at that level. They're so destroyed at that level. We are in serious trouble at the cellular level of the Homo sapien. And I've said this for years and years, and this is part of the problem. So some of these deeper spots might take a while to come back on you. But the beauty of this is so, so good. Like, will the openness in the lacuna fill in with it? Yeah, absolutely. And how about the change in the lacuna if kidneys worsen instead of heal? Same thing. Matter in fact, you can tell whether your clients or yourself is getting into those tissues and affecting a response because of just what you said. It looks worse. Now, here's an exception. Let's say you have an eye that's thick with lymph. You almost can't even see underneath that lymph to see if there even is a lacuna. Okay? So you start working on the kidney knowing that that's the direction you got to go anyway. It doesn't matter what it shows, that's the direction you got to go. You can have no lacunas in the kidney and lose kidney filtration. You don't have to have a lacuna or a lesion in the kidney to have kidney troubles. You can just flatly see a lot of lymph there and just be losing filtration. That'd be preferred, of course. So, again, we've entered in such a deep level of problems, and the lymph systems are so bad now that sometimes you can't even see under them. So, as you clean that lymph system, the eye could look worse, but not really be, because you're cleaning the clouds away from the sky so you can see the sunshine. You can see what's up in the sky because now the clouds are moving away. And that's just what you're doing when you clean the lymph system. You're moving the clouds away. Now, you could say, oh my God, that's worse. No, not really, because you didn't see it before. It'd be the only time you can get worse when you're doing these programs is if the lymph system is so bad to see up in the head area and you're just now working on the lower part to get up there. You could have a tumor up here to get worse, worse, worse. Tumors up in the breast area get bigger, bigger, bigger because you're not there yet. It takes a while to get there. So you just, you got to get the kidneys to filter, and then everything around it starts filtering, and everything around that, and everything around that. See where we're going? You just don't suddenly filter from the top down to the kidneys when you have all these miles of lymph vessels up to it. So it just takes a while to get to some of these deeper places, and you just have to have patience or put the pedal to the metal, either way. But you can get to them. And the biggest fear one has as a healer is not being able to get this lymph open fast enough to save them. And there are some that you can't, because they've ravished their bodies with chemo and radiation. They fried their cells, they fried their lymph nodes, they fried their kidneys, and you're having a hard time trying to save those people. And they could have well been saved early on, easy. But that's not where this planet is, that's not where the karma is, but we're here to change that. And change, it is a-coming. And you beautiful beings are a big part of that change. Okay. That's a good question, sweetheart. Good question, Diane. A good question. Love it. This shows this individual's paying attention to those eyes. Because I tell you, it's a simple science. 8-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds. You guys can all use the eyes and play with that and have fun with them. You'll freak a lot of your friends out. But you'll also start a revolution of children looking at other children's eyes. You'll start a whole new way of thinking. Oh my God. So this is a major one. No, I'll tell you what. I don't have much time here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this one and then we'll cut this off. And this will be a shorter video, but let's go through this. Hi, Dr. Morris. First off, I want to thank you for your amazing staff. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that so much for your videos and all the love, support, information. Thanks. I appreciate it. I smile and feel the love every time I watch a video. Oh, thanks. Oh, so, sometimes I get kind of quirky out of there, but I can't help it. I mean, this is full of sorrow. This is full of sorrow and pain. This stack, full of sorrow and pain. So, it gets you once in a while, Sad stuff. Can't help but affect any God-man. First, I will give a rundown on my health history and then go from there with some questions. Sorry it's so long. I grew up on 99% cooked food diet with very little fruit. At birth, blood transfusion when I was just a few hours old. Not sure of the reason. Something about the wrong blood type, I think. Well, at least you're still alive. 4 years old. I had a very traumatic experience with my family, siblings, and was mocked because of my stammering when I tried to explain, stuttering or stammering, when I tried to explain what I was upset about. The traumatic part was the laughing and mocking of my stammering or stuttering. The incident was me being afraid of a dragonfly. That's not a problem now, though I don't have a phobia of them, but I do have a phobia of maybe stammering and being laughed at. I think I began more quiet or repressed, I guess because I did not trust my family well enough to ask for help in any way and would totally suppress or hide my feelings. Well, I can see how that is. We're coming out of a very low, dark period of time, and it's just sad that some of the parents are not as loving as they could be to their kids, and that particularly is the male portion of that as a rule. There are females that are bad to their children, but nothing like the males. So, it's just a sad thing to see those sort of things. But all this, you were put in that family for a spiritual reason. And that is, I probably will start to see it as it comes on here, but Strength is vital in the coming of the problems this planet faces, and we all have to strengthen up. Weakness isn't tolerated by nature much, and no one tolerates weakness, so they laugh at it. So now we have to take your weakness and convert it into a strength. The joke is on everyone else, of course. I think I became more quiet and suppressed, I guess because, okay. A short while after that, I had the mumps on both sides, so that tells you immediately I have lymphatic problems. Not sure if that's the right term, but my tonsils were seriously swollen or infected. I'm assuming that this may be where the negative energy rested in my body from the stammering experience. I guess my throat chakra. Well, can I call that stuttering experience? It isn't always easy when you come into this world to immediately learn how to communicate with its inhabitants. You'll, as a traveler, as all of you are travelers, you'll be at places awake that you don't know the inhabitants or their language. That's why you generally have your spiritual guide with you, unless you know where you're going. So, a lot of times it's difficult. That's why I say a lot of you that are going to give talks and lectures about this need to go out and give a talk to the trees and the plants and the birds and the animals, because it's difficult to take the gigantic mind and what it sees and verbalize it through the astral emotional body and then through the little human brain out this mouth. It is really difficult. And if you have heavy congestion, you have synapses problems, parathyroid problems, calcium related problems, neurotransmitter problems, serotonin problems, then some of that communication network is compromised. So getting what you see verbalized takes work and training. That's why we go through the stages of getting here first. The most important thing I think for all you parents to remember is you just supplied the body. Whoever soul is in your babies, these are powerful beings. All souls come out of the Godhead. These are powerful beings. And so they're stepped down and put in your family unit because you have something to teach them they need to know, or they have something to teach you. So you just have to be always open to that sort of thing. But they need discipline. They need everything else in that too. I've talked to souls that have never been to this level before, and you're going to have some of you parents are going to have those souls that have never been here before and using a body you produced for that. And some of these souls are radical. I know a couple of them here and they're just out doing all kinds of things. They've never been here. So they don't care. They want to see how everything is. And they always create trouble. But I understand. Important to understand all these things. This planet, they're coming and going constantly. Souls are coming and going off of this planet at every level. The plants are passing, the animals are passing, new ones are being raised, the new animals are coming, everything. That's a constant moving around and shifting, because everything is getting the experiences here, then you go to another, get the experiences there, and everything keeps developing your ability to become consciously aware, and you become your own dreamer. You create your own worlds. So God individualizes itself, creates and develops a school, so to speak, for itself, develops its ability, its individualized self, to do what its bigger self can do. And so it creates untold amount of dreamers, creating worlds upon worlds of their own. So how many worlds are there to God? If there is billions of planets just in this physical universe, for every grain of sand on this planet, the little pea mind cannot comprehend something that's that vast. All right, let's see where we're going. All right, so your tonsils swell, immediately that's your lymph system there. And you're probably given milk and all the other crap that everybody else is when they're kids to swell the tonsils. The joke is they're giving us the very foods that does it, and then they call it a disease, and then oh my God, then they cut things out and everything. I mean, it's a nightmare when you sit back and look at what's going on. It's a nightmare. I'm allergic to crab meat. I grew up on the coast. Maybe something when my mother was pregnant with me. Maybe you have some iodine, because they used to give potassium of iodine and things. Toxic, and that baby formulas have it in them. So here you go. You know, you could have had some iodine in the thyroid. 6 years old, fell on a rock and knocked myself out. Not sure this is related, but for the next 3 to 5 years, I had severe aching leg muscles that would keep me up at night, often for several hours. Okay, that's called growing pains. And that, my friend, will take you immediately to your parathyroid gland. I can tell you that already. When you have a parathyroid weakness, you get these growing pains, and they're just what you're saying they are. Pains in the legs and muscles and stuff like that. The lack of calcium utilization. Often for several hours. I was a very active child, lots of exercise, and that's why. You know, it's one thing to exercise, but if you're not utilizing calcium and you're not removing your acids because your tonsils were swelling, that told me your kidneys probably weren't filtering well. That could add up to quite a bit of problems. Probably lymph movement and blood flow. Absolutely. That's calcium utilization problems on top of a lymph system that wasn't moving well. So on top of that, you had acidosis in the body. Neurologically, who knows where your adrenals were. So that could be you had nerve rings or whatever. So low calcium on top of that can create spasticity easy, seizures, convulsions, things like that, or anything thereof. All right, 13 years old, surgery. Had my adenoids scraped. Because of breathing problems and snoring, I probably had trouble. You know, it's funny, we could go in and scrape them, or we could simply detox them. Oh my God. With my tonsils, that were not addressed as well because I fairly often had tonsil infections. All right, teens. I was very athletic. Being athletic, I was the only way I really felt confident. Got glasses, severe acne, so you know immediately what's up with that, don't you? Absolutely. I used to joke and call shaving a massacre. I bet. Well, you know what? Again, you're down. Your lymph system's down. Your kidneys are down. You want to fix this. Sounds like your parathyroid is down. Probably your pituitary is. Let me see here. Lots of love, because I would bleed so much from the acne when I would shave. Yeah, lots of colds, flus, and fevers. Yeah, you were loaded. You were really backed up lymphatically, and that's just what this is telling you. Your body was trying to discharge that. Your parents were probably pumping it right in you as your body's trying to get rid of it. I mean, that's how asinine the understanding of health is on this planet. It's nil, next to nothing. The acne several severe tonsil infections, not able to eat, and even swallowing without even eating anything would cause tremendous pain. I was given antibiotics, of course, to cure it or rather suppress it. Exactly. I had lots of teeth problems, I bet. And mouth sores, herpes in the mouth, absolutely. Way too acidic. Well, I'm amazed you have any teeth in your mouth. Some teeth removed and others filled with mercury fillings, of course. Oh. Isn't that funny? When you start looking at what man has done, whoa! All right. Okay. Extremely bad psoriasis on my scalp. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's not good. It was a thick, yellowish, brownish plaquing on my scalp. Yuck. So that means, guess what the brain is full of? I got to the point where a stinky liquid would even drip off of my hair and run down my neck from the psoriasis. Because those are proteins and those are putrefactions. That's why it stinks. Nasty stuff. Remember I told you I had a case. He was so bad with psoriasis. He was a good, nice-looking young lad from Texas, but boy, he was so bad. He squeezed his chest, pus would come out like whipping cream. Man, that was bad. Got cured though. It got to the point, yeah, I got that. It was also on my forehead, face, and neck has a reddish, flaky rash. That's all acids. This is all the lymph and acids, One system down, and look at all the side effects you can have. I was prescribed, that I think was a steroid cream, to treat my incurable psoriasis, as I was told. At 18, my hair started to turn gray. Well, why not? I mean, take a look here. You had massive psoriasis on the head. That's all acidosis, and of course, that's what grazes, dehydration, acids, and then, of course, it takes off the hair. At 18 years old, you had this. After high school, I worked in a crab processing plant. I never knew it until then, but just touching the crab made me allergic to it. Wow. I lost all the skin on my hands and arms all the way up to my elbows. My arms and hands were also full of sores and very painful, of course. Had to quit that job. That's good, though, because it sucked. I bet. Oh, I can't imagine dealing with dead things like that all the time. Ooh. Or live things being dead. Ooh. 20s. Damn! You didn't even hit 20s yet. All right. Started to become anxious in social situations. I withdrew from most social activities. My scalp psoriasis are a little better, probably because I was less physically active, but still I would call severe. My hairline started to recede in the front, but of course nothing. 30s. My anxiety basically took over my life, which going to work was even very, very stressful. See, you had that adrenal down. You could tell you had your adrenals down when you were a young child because of your tonsils and adenoids, and that had to be the kidneys down too, and probably stacked on a lot of milk and stuff like that. But yeah, this is, I totally withdrew from, so you got, this is, he was on Zoloft, I get all that Paxil. Fix your endocrine glands, my friend. Get your lymph. You're going to have some things getting your lymph moving because it sounds like your cup is fulleth, my friend. Your cup is fulleth. I am currently on Paxil. I developed severe sleep apnea and was given a CPAP machine for sleeping. I had several bad eye infections, more antibiotics. Now you see where this gentleman is? He is so loaded with acids and mucus, and no one knows how to simply tell him to clean it out. It's a sad thing. 1 year ago, I gained weight to 220 pounds. I had a severe breakout of seborrheic dermatitis on my chest. Doesn't matter what they call it, man. It doesn't matter what they call it. You are in trouble lymphatically big time, subcutaneous under the skin. Your skin's in trouble, your kidneys are in trouble, your adrenals in trouble, and I might say your head and brain is, my friend. You get moving on this. Of course, had all kinds of creams and drugs to clear it up. Tight muscles in my neck. See, tight lymph, tight acid, tight. Can't drain, tight. Soldiers, which is what we all are. Shoulders, upper arms, and swollen lymph nodes in my neck. Yeah, man, see, everything you're saying here, of course, I don't like any of it. But I especially don't like the swollen lymph nodes in the neck and all the stuff in the head because this is your brain. This is the way you navigate on this lovely rock. But, okay, had my tonsils removed 1 year ago, after all these years, and surgery to have a deviated septum fixed in my nose. I can tell you right now, you have a parathyroid weakness, and you want to go after that. My guess is your pituitary's down with it, my friend. I can tell you that right now. Only drank a little water for 10 days, lost 25 pounds, and my psoriasis cleared up. See what I'm saying? Yeah, for about 2 months. Now, had you taken that on, you just took that on, you went water fasting, you juice and water, cleaned up your kidneys with that way, you'd clean yourself right up. See how that is? He just had to go on water for a couple of weeks and everything started clearing up. Well, why? Probably went through a little detox. Yes, you did. See what I'm saying? You guys are so smart, but you see what it takes to win the day. And you can see it every corner you take. There's a little message that regenerative detoxification is the golden key to Wellville. Current. I am still on Paxil. Anxiety is manageable. Well, I definitely would probably add a 400 milligram adrenal glandular for about 2 bottles. Then I would shift to the adrenal, piggyback with licorice, the endocrine gland. I'd probably look at that, do a pituitary, a liquid or a capsule first, or liquid, I don't care, but an herbal pituitary first. But you got to break this sinus and head loose, and to do that, you got to fix the bowels down below. This is a case where I'd really like to see this eye. Psoriasis is still what I call severe on my forehead, face, neck, and underarms, but you know how to get rid of it. but it's improved on my scalp. I stopped using store-bought deodorants. Thank you. And switched to a natural shampoo. I have been eating more fruit, grapes, apples, watermelon, and eating more salads. Stop and don't eat anything else. You really want to get this all together and go on this. Get this done. Because each year you don't, is each year your acids are chewing on your brain. So the real issue, dementia and Alzheimer's in you at an early age. Honey, where did I park my car? We didn't come in a car. It's just that sort of thing. And this is very serious stuff. You know, a lot of people don't take things like this serious. I do, because I see what happens when you don't fix it. We have to then try and fix Alzheimer's, dementia, and those are difficult because you don't get compliance. When you're a certain age and you can't remember, you're not compliant at all. It's tough. Even if you have a health care helper, still tough. So that's a problem. When you start losing your marbles, you might as well leave the planet because you're pretty much done. You know, from then on, nothing's pleasant. So, I did the first kit from your protocol and several extra bottles of adrenal and kidney for me, smart man. Had to stop ordering because of the Canadian dollar dropping and prices getting too... I hate that. There is a way. They're working on this, and I don't know. I mean, we got people working on things to try to work with these custom things because these people are ripping now. Just ripping. Especially Canada. Canada's been ripping us for years. It's too bad, too. High as well shipping costs. I don't blame you. If you can get someone to come across the border and we can mail it, that'll be your best way to do it. A lot of people are coming across the border doing that. I was also wondering about purchasing bulk herbs like the ones in your formula. Absolutely. That's another good way to do that. Absolutely. My thoughts. Emotional trauma and surgery as well as genetic weaknesses at an early age has severely weakened my adrenals and kidneys to a chronic degree. I would say you were born with chronic kidneys and adrenals. You were probably born with them. And the best way to do it, look and see if you have a lacuna in there. If you got a lacuna in there, you were born with it. So take a look at your eyes. That'll tell you immediately what your body looks like, head to toe. Chronic degree causing a fairly bad acidosis, do you think? You're not even filtering, my friend. Look at all the psoriasis and acne, whatever you wish to call it, dermatitis, I don't care, whatever you wish to call it. It's all acidosis, no matter the degree that it breaks down your tissues. And the degree it exposes itself. That's just medical doctors wanting to thop a name on it. It's just still the same stuff, and you fix it the same way. Being very active and athletic, probably adding to the acidity. It is if you're not filtering. It is if you're not filtering. You got it, man. Good, smart. Smart, smart, smart. I don't have a name on here, so I don't know if I'm talking to a male or a female. Okay. Am I correct? You are correct. What really concerns me now, you should have a lot of things concern you, bro. Or, my dear, one of the two. Now, that I know about detox and detox symptoms is that I don't get sick anymore at all. No colds, flus, or fevers. You see, you're starting to move that lymph system out. Your body knows that you're working on that, but I would kick it up a few notches because you've had this way too long. And there's nothing good comes about acid on the brain that many years. So you want to kick it up. Get your adrenals up. Give yourself a big hug because you're a beautiful person. You're fixing yourself. You know, those beautiful people out there, people that care for themselves more than they realize, and they're seeking answers to fix themselves whole again and fix themselves. You should never down yourself because I can feel it through your writing here. You're a beautiful soul, and enjoy that. You got a body here that was trapped in the parents you were and all that, but the information you're getting and where it's going to take you is why all of this is happening. And you soon are going to see all the reasons why. Now, that leads me to believe that I am at a stage where my body is unable to detox it right now because of the extreme acidosis. That's that little negative one on this side. So you got the positive one on this side, and you got the negative one on this side. Oh, I can't detox right now because I'm too, you're crazy. You want to detox the only answer at any stage, because you'll never make it if you don't. Oh, I don't need to. So you have that going on all the time. You have to get away from both sides, kick back to consciousness, and realize your experience is directly related to the health of your vehicles that you're using while you're enjoying your tour through creation. And if you don't fix them, your tour isn't so good. So fix it. You got the power, you got the mind, your awareness, and you're a beautiful being. I can feel that. Don't worry about the adrenals. Get the adrenals up. It doesn't matter what other people think about you. It doesn't matter one little bit, because they're from the same source you are. They just don't realize it. And the more you realize it, see where I'm going? Okay, I was wondering what thoughts you have about my case, and would really appreciate any suggestions. Do you have any suggestions on how to release the trauma from those younger ages? You'll see. And I'll tell you, when you start working on your adrenal glands, don't be surprised if you have some lucid dreaming, and at the same time, you don't go through some emotional stuff. Because as you clean your adrenals, your emotional body's going to get stronger, and you're going to start cleaning out all the little crap. So be tough, be strong, be awake. And then it doesn't matter what goes on out here. You're at peace, you're at home, and it doesn't matter how your world is. You can enjoy them, but you don't have to get lost in them anymore. And you got the tools to get yourself well. Do you have any suggestions on how to, emotionally or spiritually? Thank you so very, very much for your time, sharing, caring, compassion, and love. Same to you back. Well, you guys are having some really good questions. This is getting good. I really like your questions. There's no more crap. Really good stuff. You guys are really forming into some beautiful, very awakened beings. A lot of you guys are getting this and taking care of yourselves. Look at the lady that cured herself of MS just from the YouTube. A lot of you have done that. I get all these reports all the time of beautiful things you've done on yourselves just through the YouTube channel. How beautiful is that? We all working together as a team will change this world and the stupidity and unawareness that's driving it right now. And we just have to break some of these mental concepts that are untrue. There's so much propaganda and crap that are untrue. People believe in anything. So it's really a blessing to spend time with you, and you're allowing me into your homes and helping you. I can only tell you that from me and the spiritual giants that I work with and the source itself, we love you.